Allison High School, and welcome to the December edition of Book Talk. This month I want to talk to you guys about 3 books that are brand new in our library. So all 3 of these books are being considered for next year's award list. So every year I talk to you guys about the Gateway Award nominees. These are like the 16 best books voted on by teachers, librarians, and students all over the state. And then if you read several of them, you get to vote for which one's the state's favorite. So the 3 books that I'm going to talk to you about today are all being considered for next year's list. So there's librarians and teachers and students all over the state reading them right now to narrow the list down to the final 16. It's sitting at about 40 right now. So all 3 of these books are brand new in our library, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them and read you a chunk. So the first book I want to look at is called A Heavy Dose of Allison Tandy. So in this book, our main character's name is Cam, and Cam's ex-girlfriend, Allison, broke up with him, totally broke his heart, and he's trying to get his head on straight and get through senior year. But he's heartbroken. And then this freak thing happens where she gets into a car accident on the same day that he tears her ACL. So she's like in a coma in the hospital from this car accident, and he's in the hospital with a torn ACL, and he starts taking pain medicine to deal with the surgery and everything, and he starts hallucinating Allison. Like, the pain medicine is making him imagine she's there in the room and he's talking to her. He's pretty sure he's losing his mind. This one is funny in kind of a, I don't know, sometimes inappropriate way, but not bad. But I liked it. So I'm going to read you a little line from it where he's talking to his best friend, Chevy. So he says, "Remember the time we watched the movie Twister and you convinced me we should become storm chasers? Go to YouTube. Search Teens Wet Pants as Tornado Approaches. 500,000 people have seen the 2 of us sobbing under an overpass." For the record, it was Mountain Dew. "I remember," Chevy says. I open my eyes, find his. This thing I want to do is 10 times dumber." Chevy's eyes are damp. His shoulders slumped over his toes. I've never seen him like this before. And yet, looking at him now is like looking in a mirror. Chevy's me a couple months ago as my suspicions about Allie festered unchecked. I grew convinced she'd nuked our relationship in order to get what she really wanted. Him. I was too far gone, just like Chevy is now. This is a terrible idea, I repeat, because it bears repeating. Chevy nods. Yep. We're going to do it anyway, aren't we? Yep. I groan. All right, get my keys. So the second book I want to talk about is called How We Ricochet. And this is an interesting exploration of life after a mass shooting. So a lot of times in the news we hear about them, we know they happened, but a lot of people don't talk about the recovery process or what it's like for people who were there for the shooting and the family members of the shooter. There's a lot of kind of emotional, traumatic pieces there that we don't always talk about. So I'm going to read you a little blurb out of this one. It's called How We Ricochet. I don't know what I was thinking, grabbing my purse and fleeing the cupcake store as the popping continued, running full speed toward the sound. Actually, I do. I was a zombie seized by panic, and I had only 2 things on my mind, my mother and my sister. Outside on the pavement in front of the store, the popping sounds grew louder. I was still counting, 7, 8, 9. I didn't know what to do, where to go. I stood frozen under the just lit street lamps. A few other people, also frozen around me with shopping bags in hands, all of us looking at each other for an answer. Where was it coming from? Was this real life? Were we in danger? People started screaming from inside the store, and I was instantly ill. So in this book, the main character is at a mall when a mass shooting takes place. But throughout the story of the book, she gets to know the shooter's brother and just how unsure life can be. Really interesting, heavy, emotional read. The last book I'm going to talk to you about this month is called After Dark with Roxy Clark. And this one's a definite murder mystery. So Roxy Clark comes from a family that is supposedly cursed because nearly every member of her family dies in some freakishly weird way, including her mother. So you've got her and her sister. And then about a year ago, her sister's boyfriend, Skylar, was murdered. And they found him in a cornfield. So her sister's still a mess from that. Roxy has kind of a sick sense of humor and has turned all of these weird, unfortunate deaths into a pretty lucrative ghost tour business and puts on these wild performances to get people to come on ghost tours because, hey, everybody in her family's dead. We pick up the book where her sister is still reeling from the death of her boyfriend, and she wants answers. She wants to know what happened to her boyfriend. So they start kind of investigating what happened to her boyfriend, and they start finding out that more than one person was lying, and maybe the boyfriend's death wasn't an accident. So let me read you a chunk of this one. It says, Roxy's the one talking here. Arden is 2 hours from here, she said, and that's if you're speeding. The fastest route here is the highway. There are 2 state troopers patrolling that area, or there were on August 23rd, and they definitely would have seen someone going fast enough to shave off more time. The fire in the cornfield started at 11, and Colin was likely dead before then. The attempted robbery at the Emporium happened at 10. There's no way he could have gotten back here in 1 hour. He could have made it before the body was discovered, but he definitely wouldn't have had time to kill him behind Morning Glory, then transport him to the cornfield and set it on fire. So that's the kind of mystery clues vibes you get from this one. It's After Dark with Roxy Clark. Well, guys, that's it for the December edition of Book Talk. Thanks for joining me this month and hearing a little bit about some of our new books. Now, make sure you check out a book or 2 or 3 to take home with you over the break and be reading something good. You never know when we're going to get a snow extension. It could happen, and you'd be stuck indoors and need a good book to read. So, everybody have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in the library.